Early symptoms of multiple sclerosis can be easy to miss. For many of us, after diagnosis, we can look back and realize that we have had symptoms that we may have missed or dismissed, sometimes for years. Did this happen to you? Let me know in the comments below. Today, I'm going to share what some of my early symptoms were, how I missed them or dismissed them, and why it's important to keep our doctors informed. When I was in the second grade, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, curvature of the spine. It was a complete surprise, and I don't remember having any specific symptoms. My pediatrician was doing an exam, and he had me bend forward, and he noticed it. I was sent to a specialist and had lots of tests and poking and prodding at the children's hospital. I remember getting a neurological exam, but I didn't know what it was. I also had a nerve conduction study done. Was it because I failed part of the neurological exam? I'm still not sure. The doctors debated if I needed surgery or a back brace to correct the curves in my spine. They decided on a brace. I wore that brace until I was through with high school. I've always felt like my left side had less sensation than my right, and I've mentioned it to doctors over the years. They'd check my reflexes and do a vibration test, and not much else was done. I believe the sensation loss may have been one of my first MS symptoms, but I can't say for sure. I dismissed it as connected to my scoliosis. It wasn't terribly disruptive, and I was used to it because it's been part of my life for so long. I also suffered from fatigue, a lot. I had asthma and allergies pretty badly as a child, and I was often tired. Was it an early sign? Maybe. I was also very petite. I still am. I'm only 4'10". I was a preemie. I was only 5 pounds when I was born, and they thought I might have some developmental issues. Could this explain away my fatigue? Perhaps. Again, it was part of my life, and I was used to living this way. Heat intolerance was another sign, especially in my 20s. I remember getting out of the shower and sometimes having to lie down and rest after because the heat of the shower drained me. I loved hot showers. I still do, but I know they'll make me feel drained. Drained. Shower. See what I did there? Was this another early symptom? It might have been. I really didn't think much of it, and I never mentioned it to my doctors. I was a young mom, and we're often tired. I think sometimes we get accustomed to our symptoms. Again, I was dismissing symptoms. Cog fog would creep up from time to time as well. I couldn't remember things, or I'd forget words. I'd laugh it off or dismiss it as being tired or too busy or distracted. Another early MS symptom? Maybe. I also occasionally would get some leg spasms in my left leg. It would typically happen when I was sitting for too long, especially in chairs where my feet wouldn't reach the ground, or the depth of the seat was too deep for me and it would put pressure behind my knees. Another early sign? Probably. My first discernible relapse happened in 2006 when I was 40 years old. Over the course of a weekend, I developed foot drop. It got bad pretty quickly. In the span of a few days, I was losing my ability to walk. This was the symptom that drove me to the doctor quickly. But as funny as it sounds now, I was in complete denial that anything was seriously wrong. I told myself it was a pinched nerve or a muscle in my back. I was too young and too healthy to be really ill, right? Did any of you experience anything like this? Let me know in the comments below. So let's see, where are we on the list of possible early symptoms? Sensation loss, fatigue, heat intolerance, cog fog, spasms, and foot drop. Individually, they didn't seem too troubling, but in hindsight, I wish I had spoken up about them more with my doctors or been more of an advocate for myself and my health. I encourage you to keep track of any symptoms or things that might feel a bit off. Bring the list of all your symptoms to your doctors. If you feel like your symptoms are not being addressed, or if you feel like the doctors are not able to help you, seek a second opinion or a referral. Sometimes it takes a specialist to help define and identify problems. After my foot drop, they found a lesion in my neck and they did a lumbar puncture, but the spinal fluid was inconclusive. I was given high-dose steroids in the hospital for a few days and sent home with instructions to follow up with my new neurologist. They suspected MS, but couldn't conclusively say that it was MS. I followed up with him every 6 months with MRIs. The steroids helped the foot drop some, and I started making some serious diet and lifestyle changes because this hospitalization and facing the possibility of losing my ability to walk scared me into really paying attention to my health. I started eating more vegetarian, I added regular yoga, and started my mindfulness practice. All of these, plus the steroids, helped my foot drop all but resolve. After 2 years, my neurologist said it may have been a monophasic event, a one-time thing. And he sent me on my way saying, call him if I experienced any new symptoms. Then in 2016, things changed. I started getting increased symptoms. I was experiencing more sensation loss and getting some pain in my foot when I exercised. But again, I was not willing to believe that there was something wrong with me. The symptoms were a bit more subtle than the foot drop, and I ignored them for months. It sometimes felt like pins and needles on the bottom of my foot, or I sometimes felt like blisters were forming on my foot when I was exercising. I also used to get this tightness in my thigh and my calf, like my skin was too tight for my leg, or I was wearing a compression sock. I eventually went back to the doctor. It took a year, a lot of doctor's appointments, and lots of tests, but I received my MS diagnosis in 2018 and started on a disease-modifying treatment. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. We can look back on experiences and learn from them. The lessons I learned: it's important to keep track of our symptoms. Even if they seem to come and go or resolve, it's important to bring all of our symptoms to the doctor. Because the symptoms of MS can come and go, it's important to give our doctors a full health history. It's part of the diagnostic criteria. The earlier we can get our diagnosis, get on treatment, and start making diet and lifestyle changes, the better our long-term outcomes. It's important to seek answers. If we're unable to get answers from our doctors, it's really important to seek a second opinion or a referral. I had to learn to say things like, is there someone else you could recommend to help me find the cause of these symptoms when my doctors weren't sure what was happening? Or say, who should I see next? Or seek out another type of doctor on my own. The year that I was diagnosed, I saw my primary care doctor, a neurologist, orthopedist, a spine surgeon, a physiatrist, another neurologist that specialized in peripheral issues, and finally, an MS neurologist. It's important that we advocate for ourselves. Not every doctor is going to be able to give us answers. I've also learned how important it is to take exquisite care of myself. Back in 2006, I got very focused on my health, and I got better. After 2017, I got laser focused on my health. I started reading the research and started getting educated on how to manage my symptoms with diet and lifestyle changes. Sometimes the changes were easy and I had immediate results. No more overly hot showers. I don't want to bring on fatigue. High top chairs at restaurants or venues where my feet dangle? Not anymore. I know they may trigger spasms. Sometimes the changes took more time and were more subtle. I switched to eating a whole food plant-based diet. I took a course in plant-based nutrition, and over a period of months, my overall health improved, including less fatigue and cog fog. I now also take supplements to help with deficiencies and symptoms. My neurologist and naturopathic doctors help me with what to take and in what amounts. I exercise more regularly. The increase in strength and flexibility have helped too. And I regularly practice mindfulness, do it daily. The reduction in stress hormones has helped my health as well. I've made sleep a priority. I have good sleep hygiene habits. I very rarely stay out past 10 p.m. My sleep is just too important to me. All of these changes helped. There's no one thing that addresses individual symptoms, but making my health a priority, taking exquisite care of myself, helps me to manage my symptoms and possibly prevent progression. What were your first symptoms of MS? Were they subtle like mine? Let me know in the comments below. I love to hear from my viewers as we build our community. To see more on living well with MS or chronic illness, check out these videos next. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to my newsletter using the link in the description or comments. Until next time, be well.